What's up, Felters? I'm your host, Reagan, here with my co-host, Colin, and we're ready to break down all things Week 13 in the NFL. And boy, was it action-packed. The dogs were barking. We're recording on a Monday night, too, so maybe the Giants get it done as well to make another big touchdown underdog with a win. But Colin, what's good, my man? What is good?
Hey, man, just chilling. Really enjoyed Thanksgiving football and the whole weekend that we had with Black Friday, the college football slate. It was a lot of fun, man. The dogs were definitely barking on Thanksgiving, made things interesting. Had a couple heartbreakers with Big Dogs Parlay, but, it is what it is. We fight back. We'll be back in Week 14, but losing by one leg with ETN when the backup Tootin scored is, pretty frustrating to say the least, but we live and we learn, so we're going to stay away from committee backfields at all costs going to the future because I hate losing you guys money more than I hate losing money myself. But hey, it's all good, man. My New York Giants are kicking off in 15 minutes here, so I'll be watching in the background. We'll see the return of Jackson Dart. I'm excited. I actually feel pretty good about the Giants tonight. I don't know, feeling frisky. I think a lot of people think 7.5 is a bit of a wide line for this one, and the Patriots are due for a loss. So yeah, it's funny because I actually picked the Pats on my picks, I believe.
Fake fan.
Oh, I picked the Giants spread, but I picked the Pats to win.
Homer,
I get called both. It's a double-edged sword out there. So
yeah, just take the tie.
It is what it is, man. But hey, we're going to start with the news like we always do. Your former star corner on the Jets, Sauce Gardner, now with the Colts, left the game with a lower leg injury, and boy, it did not look good for a little bit. The way he was limping off, and immediately everyone just thinks Achilles. Luckily for Sauce and Colts fans, rejoice. It's a calf strain week to week, so should be good for the playoffs for Indy, which is just massive for that franchise.
Yeah, dude, and he was shutting down Nico Collins early on, and then you saw as soon as Sauce went out, Nico started to cook. But yeah, massive blow. You obviously gave up, a lot of capital to get him, so this is kind of out of your control. It's unfortunate, but seems like you dodged a bullet. But this team right now is really, really struggling the past 2 weeks with two, unfortunate losses in 2 games you really need to have for the playoff picture. Because now, the Colts, while they're still in, Jaguars have passed them with the tiebreaker for the division. So now they're a wild card team. But you got the Texans, who have the head-to-head, and the Chiefs, who have the head-to-head, right behind you on the hunt. So I feel like Colts fans got to be a little nervous, even with the 2-game cushion over the Chiefs, which is really more of the 2-game cushion, but it's really more of a 1.5 game cushion because obviously they'll lose the tiebreaker.
Yeah, man. The Colts were atop the league, and now they're faltering a little bit. You point to many factors. Daniel Jones has kind of come back down to earth a little bit in recent weeks, which has been a factor. I mean, granted, the guy's a broken fibula, so it's hard to be effective when he can't really move like he was, and that's one of the things that made him really well for the Colts this year. So tough in Indy right now, and they don't have a first-round pick to fall back on.
Yeah.
In other injury news, Justin Herbert underwent hand surgery today. Something was broken. He still came back into the game with that left hand all padded up and finished the game, which is good for his outlook next week. However, you could tell he was limited. They couldn't go under center with him, which, they got stuffed on a 4th down because he couldn't get under center when a QB sneaks. So definitely something that's concerning for a Chargers team that likes to pound the rock and be under center. Going to change your game plan, but for fantasy purposes as well, if you have Justin Herbert, I don't know, are you nervous, Reagan? Are you going elsewhere even with a bum left hand, or are you still okay because he's still playing?
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's playing, I'm still okay with it. I mean, I might try to pivot to other options, but, if he's a guy that's gotten you that far and you don't really have many other viable options, I would probably stick with him. But if there's a guy at the same tier, either on your bench or on waivers, with a good matchup, I think maybe you want to pivot. Because even then, it's not like he's been exactly the best as of recent for fantasy.
He hasn't been. He's kind of come back down to earth in recent weeks for whatever reason. But, I'm in a situation where I got him and Caleb Williams. And even though Caleb has a tough matchup against the Packers, I still think I'm going to lean Caleb with the hand injury with Herbert.
Yeah, plus the Bears have been piss hot. I mean, some weeks I know it's more of the Caleb show, and some week it's more of the running backs. But regardless, the Bears have been on fire.
That's for sure. All right, not NFL news, but just major football news. So we got to talk about it. Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss to become the head coach at LSU, which he just claimed is the best job in all of football. I guess that's why you leave a program you've been at for 6 years. You have it 11-1 with a chance to win a national title this year. A huge, messy situation, but certainly going to impact the college football landscape drastically. And then in turn, when we care about the NFL draft and those guys coming into the league and the talent that's going to come out of LSU and Ole Miss now. What are your thoughts on this whole fiasco? Do you think Lane made the right decision?
No. I mean, bro, like it's such a weird thing to happen. Like he had the ability, and I'd say Ole Miss maybe, isn't a clear-cut favorite or anything like that, but they definitely had a path to go out there and make some noise in the college football playoffs. So to jump ship to go to LSU, where I feel like to me, it's a lateral move. I mean, I know LSU historically is a better program, but I would think, the recruiting's not going to be much different at the two. Maybe you get more hometown kids with Louisiana being a bigger football state than Mississippi, but
that's the thing. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he kind of put Ole Miss on the map in recent memory, and they've been, finally they've broken through and gotten to the college football playoffs after last year kind of choked down the stretch when you had Jackson Dart, and you finally make it this year and you just jump ship. And I don't blame Ole Miss either for saying, all right, that's fine, but we're not coaching us. We'll take the intern head coach. Well, I think they then announced as their full-time coach.
Yeah, the DC is the full-time coach. So no interim tag. He just got promoted. He's the full-time coach. So I think the team was pretty fired up about that. It's very similar to when Brian Kelly left for Ole Miss and Marcus Freeman got the job as the defensive coordinator, who didn't go with them, right? They just promoted from within. So a lot of similarities there, which is interesting. But
it makes sense if you want to make a run in the college football playoffs. Like, take that tag off. Don't make the guy think he's coaching for his job. Like, it's your job. Go get it done.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it. Look, I think the big thing for Lane, the money was going to be the same. So I saw Schefter was like talking about how does Ole Miss not pay him? Like, stay in your lane, Schefter, because they were paying him the same money. Had nothing to do with money. I think when you consider who his mentors are, and Pete Carroll and Nick Saban, and he speaks to them, like they were telling Lane, you got to take this shot because it's going to come around once. And they seem to believe that the talent that he can get at LSU is just at a different level, particularly the high school talent compared to Ole Miss, because Louisiana is a hotbed for NFL talent. I believe they're like 6th most NFL players out of the state of Louisiana. And then you're looking at like Florida, Texas, California, but they all have multiple big-time programs in those states. So I think for Lane, it was like, all right, if you're going to give me $25 million a year to build my roster where I have better high school talent and I still can use the portal, which he's used really well at Ole Miss. But people forget, like, Quinshon Judkins got poached from Ole Miss to go to Ohio State, and they already had Travion Henderson last year. I don't think that happens if he's at LSU. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's definitely something to be noted there.
Yeah, right? Like, he lost Judkins, who's a stud. So Ohio State paid him $2-3 million. If he's at LSU, I don't think Quinshon Judkins leaves.
Yeah, fair.
Interesting. All right, man. That's all we got from news today. It's honestly, I like when there's a light news slate because that means all of our fantasy players didn't get hurt. So
that's true.
Very good. Very good. What we care about more are the questions. What's in the mailbag, Reagan?
Yeah, let's start it out with Crampton. He wants to know, where do you rank RJ Harvey for fantasy football for the rest of the season?
All right, I'm going to be honest. I have RJ Harvey in one league. I was not impressed with his performance last night against the Commanders. That is a defense that has been Swiss cheese all year. They've been very bad against opposing running backs. He was not very efficient. I thought he'd do more in the receiving game. It's frustrating. I don't know if it's the Denver offense or if it's him, but if you look at his ranks and yards per carry and explosive run rate and all that compared to all the backs across the league, he's in like the 30s and 40s. So I get why he shot up draft boards because a lot of people didn't see J.K. Dobbins as a big threat, and he was picked in the 2nd round by Sean Payton. But for me, if I have him in Dynasty, I'm selling because I don't see the long-term value in RJ Harvey. For now, I'm playing him the rest of the stretch, and he's going to be fine at my flex because he's a volume play on a good team, and it's matchup dependent. But I'm not sold on him long-term in Dynasty yet.
Yeah, what also scares me is, too, like, yeah, he is going to be the RB2 this week. but that's only on 47% of touches. So, the week prior or 2 weeks prior before the bye, he had 61% of the snaps, and then prior to that, he never eclipsed over 45%, which is understandable with Dobbins. But you would have thought he'd have a way bigger snap share or continue to grow, or at least around 60% after the bye week. So the fact that it went down in a game script that never really got to a point where he would be not a factor, like they were in the whole time that they could run, and he is a really good pass catcher. So that does make me a little nervous that he might be more touchdown dependent, but I'm kind of viewing him as back end RB2, like top 20 guy, maybe top 15, but I don't know if he'll be able to crack that top 12 threshold unless he's to get the volume or the snap percentages closer to 75%, not 50.
I agree.
So the next question from Jared, he wants to know, who would you rather have rest the season, half-point PPR, Justin Jefferson or Romeo Doubs? I mean, technically, this isn't even a troll question at this point.
No, it's not, and it sucks. It sucks. As a Jetta's fantasy holder, it sucks. Well, I'll tell you what. As bad as 9 has been, at least we know Brosmer's worse, so it can't get any worse than what we just saw.
Yeah.
That was the worst game of Jefferson's career, so we got it out of the way before the playoffs. Look, Kevin O'Connell is in any quarterback's ear saying, just get the ball to Justin Jefferson. Get him the ball. I don't care what you do. 1-8 is always open. Give him the rock. So there has to be a conscious effort to turn it around. Then again, do I believe in Romeo Doubs a ton? No. Jaden Reed is still going to come back, and it's going to be all messy still. Christian Watson's been pretty good. Golden's going to come back too. Then you're in a room of 4 guys that I don't know what the snap share is going to look like. I'm still taking Jefferson. I understand it's not a troll question, even though it's kind of funny. I'm still going to go with Jefferson.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the downside with Jefferson is he only has 2 weeks as a top 12 guy, and that was 8 and 11 in week 4 and week 5. So since the bye after week 6, his best performances, and this is in full point PPR, is wide receiver 18. And that was 16.7 points. He's only cracked over 20 points once in full point PPR. So if you have him in half point.
1 touchdown, right? Just 1 touchdown this year?
2. He had
2
1 in
touchdowns.
week 1 and 1 against Detroit in week 2. So, the touchdowns aren't there. The targets are kind of there. I mean, he's had a lot of games with double-digit targets, but it's not translating to anything for fantasy. I think at this point you have to lower expectations and view him as a flex too. I mean, there's nothing, we've seen this year to make us think that any quarterback on that roster, because he had Wentz for a while too, and it wasn't like it was great with him either. So this might be the new norm for Jefferson. I wouldn't and obviously deadlines are probably passed, so you're not going to be selling him anywhere, but definitely temper expectations. I mean, with Romeo Doubs, to his credit, I mean, he only has 1 week as a top 5 wide receiver. He's only been top 12 once. So really Doubs hasn't been great either. There's only been a couple weeks. So yeah, you're still going with Jefferson 100%. I am curious if he actually meant Odunze, because he said Romeo Doubs.
Well, that'd be Rome of Odunze.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Doubs'
weird.
First name is Romeo.
It's I know that's the weird thing though, because it's he did say Romeo Doubs, but it's not like it's.
Yeah, but Adunes has been fucking hit or miss too. That's
kind of why I thought that would make more sense. Because Doubs has been clear and cut a lower tier than Jefferson. It's not like he's been great either that you would even want to consider it. But I don't know. Definitely in a bad spot if you have Jefferson. Probably not making the playoffs in your fantasy leagues. But let's move on to Caleb. He wants to know, any wide receiver pickups for this week? I mean, it's going to be tough, man. Obviously, you got 4 teams on bye. We'll get more into that later in the week. But, I believe the Panthers, the Niners, who are the other 2 on bye?
Giants. Not taking any Giants receivers besides Wandell, but
Giants and Patriots, Niners, Giants, Panthers. So I haven't taken a super deep dive yet. I mean, just some names that have been, I guess, playing better.
AD Mitchell's on my waivers.
He's out there. Definitely go pick him up.
First 100-yard game, 8-102 and a touchdown.
I mean,
Devon
I probably
Bailey went 8 for 93 and a touchdown, but that seems like a one-off kind of game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to play Keon Coleman right now, but the fact that he played and got the touchdown, maybe he's worth a speculative ad if he's kind of back and actually falls in the favor of what we thought he could be this year.
Dontavian Wicks had a big performance, 6 for 94 and 2 touchdowns. But then again, like you're picking up these guys are going to shoot up because they had a big game. And outside of like A.D. Mitchell from that crop, do I think they could repeat it? Probably not.
Yeah,
The only reason I think A.D. Mitchell can is because who else is getting the ball, you know?
Yeah. I mean, actually, there are some Lions receivers you could look at. Like Isaac Tesla is definitely interesting. St. Brown's going to miss time.
Yeah.
You know, J-Mo's going to be the one, but somebody's got to slide into the number 2 role. I mean, Tom Kennedy was the one getting a lot of work in the slot, but like, I don't know if I would trust him. 4 for 36. He's 29 years old. So, you know, he's had his opportunities, been around where like, at least with Tesla, like he's interesting to me because he's a rookie. You know, he showed it a lot of flashes in the preseason, and he's a big threat. Like he's a big touchdown guy. You know, with limited time, he's already got 3 touchdowns this year. So I would think he'll have the opportunities as the, you know, I believe he was a 4th or 5th round pick. So that's definitely a name I would prioritize. It's just risky at this point in week 14 because it's like, you know, you don't want to take a risk, especially on Thursday night. Do you want to pick up a guy to plug and play where it's like there's still a chance like he only runs like 40% of snaps and you end up with a goose egg? So that's kind of my thoughts, but he would be the one out of all those to look at for me as well. He also wants to know, which team is more likely to make the playoffs, the Panthers or the Cowboys? It's a good one. I say the Panthers, and that one's
definitely
easy
the Panthers.
For me.
That's so easy. They're in the race for their division, I think. I don't think Dallas is going to have enough runway to catch Philadelphia being back 2 games, you know?
No, it's only 1.5.
I guess because the tie.
But it's still technically 2 because it would have to win 2.
They're back 2 in the win column, so I'm thinking 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. You're right, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's like Carolina is still competing with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 7-5, Carolina 7-6, but they got to play twice, right? So they control their own destiny. Dallas does not control their own destiny, so that's an easy one for me.
Yeah, that is easy. Plus, like the downside with Dallas right now, like not only that, like they actually right now Dallas has a better chance to win the division than they do actually get a wild card because right now the Niners are 9-4 at that 7th spot. Seattle 9-3, Green Bay 8-3-1. So it's going to be, believe it or not, it'll actually be easier for them to get to win the division than it would be anything else. Because I guess the tiebreaker with Green Bay would come down to conference record, which Green Bay is 6-2-1, Dallas is 3-4-1. So, you know, Green Bay really would be tough for them to catch. So I think they actually have a better chance to catch the Eagles than they do anything else.
And the Eagles are 4-4 in the last 8, so they're not necessarily scorching hot right now.
Yeah. He also wants to know thoughts on my Bears versus Patriots Super Bowl finalist future. Plus 20,000, 2 to win 400. Wow. What a future.
That's insane. That's an insane future. I ultimately don't think it comes to fruition because I don't know. They're just so young and naive. And I think you got to be battle tested to make that kind of run unless you have a superstar at quarterback. And I'm not ready to say Caleb Williams is that. But that's a great future. I mean, that's a great future. Bears sitting the number 1 seed in the NFC is freaking nuts.
Sit at the number 1 in the AFC.
Yeah, that's freaking nuts. But you know, you can talk about the schedules all day. They are what they are. Their record is what it is. But I think it'll catch up to them at some point. So if a cash out ever presents itself, I wouldn't be opposed.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I have a Bears 40-1 to make the Super Bowl, 40-1, which has got a fat payout. That's now down to 14-1. So, you know, they're starting to get their respect. Patriots as well getting their respect. So I would be curious if you actually had a cash out yet, just based off of that. But ultimately, I don't think there's a way in hell that both of these teams, you know, win. You got to think one of these teams is going to choke due to the fact that they're so young. Like I could see one of them making it. You know, fluky shit happens every year, but like both of them, it just seems too crazy of a combination to happen. All right, let's move on to Garrett. Can you talk about how good Trey McBride has been? Amongst all tight ends, he's first in yards, first in catches, and first in touchdowns.
I mean, the guy's an absolute freak of nature. Doesn't matter who's at quarterback. Could be Jacoby Brissett, could be Kyler Murray. It does not matter. I mean, his recent stretch of games is nuts. He's finished the top 6 fantasy tight end every week since week 6. So, I mean, the thing is like the targets, man. 9, 10, 11, 13, 9, 13, 11, 7, 11, 8, 7, 9. That is nuts, man. The guy is just open, and the touchdown thing is no longer a thing because he's a touchdown machine now, which just always seemed like it was a matter of time with how good he is. I
And not
mean,
only that, he's
he's a
leading
freak.
all pass catchers, running backs, wide receivers, everybody in receptions.
You said it last year. You're too early.
I know that was my pick last year, and he's first at 88. I mean, I don't think I would have got the same odds this year, due to the fact that he was still top 5. So I don't think it would have probably been like 10-1, 11-1. But yeah, I mean, I was just a year early. And the crazy part is too, he had 2 receiving touchdowns last year, plus a rushing, so 3 total touchdowns last year. This year he has 8.
Mm-hmm.
So and he's still got 4 more games.
Rookie year.
1. His rookie year, he didn't get a lot of time, and then his sophomore year, he kind of came in halfway through and took over, and he had 3. But still, I mean, he looks primed to, be over 1,000 yards. It looks like he might, like he's in a great spot to smash all of his totals from last year. He needs a couple good games to finish. He also only played 16 last year, but if he plays the next 5 healthy, he's on a really good spot to smash everything from last year, which was a career year. But this is why I was saying I've had him ranked higher. Granted, Bowers injured, Kittle injured, so I can't take a full victory lap, and Laporta injured as well with that top 4. But I mean, I've always been on high on this guy.
Woo! That Bowers.
No, I think it's clear
one-handed.
cut.
Yeah.
It's McBride and Bowers is 1A, 1B. And you could say Kittle from an NFL standpoint, could be a 1C. I think those 3 are the clear cut top 3. I mean, I know Ferguson's up there, but like you've seen his drop off since CD's been back. And
yeah, and Ferguson
yards.
Ferguson just feels to me more like a benefactor of what's around him, where you have Pickens and CD on the outside, and then he's like working the middle of the field and getting a lot of touchdowns, where McBride and Bowers are the number 1 options in their team, and Kittle too. Dominant guys, just not I mean, don't get me wrong, I still think Ferguson's a really good player, but there's a different level with these guys,
Yeah, he then wants to know, what are the Cowboys' chances of winning the NFC East? Well, we were just kind of talking about it a little bit. I think it's definitely more of a possibility now. I mean, after we saw them beat them and then, go out and beat the Cowboys and the Eagles lose again. So now they're, essentially 2 games out, we'll say, with the, in the win column, like you said. I mean, the Cowboys, they got the Lions. That's tough. But then they got the Vikings, Chargers at home, Commanders, Giants. So really, I could see this team going 4-1 down the stretch and ending the season at 10-6-1. But the thing is,
is that enough?
Yeah. I mean, Philly's got the Chargers, Raiders, Commanders, Bills, Commanders. So I would think, no, it's not going to be enough.
They're similar schedules, 3 not so good teams and 2 playoff caliber teams. So
I don't see a way where the Eagles go 2-3 or worse. I think they're locked in for 3-2 or better. And I don't see Dallas winning out. So I think, no, my algorithm has it as 0% chance. I just don't see a world where Philly doesn't win at least. I don't see a world where Dallas wins out and Philly doesn't win at least 3 games. The Commanders, they should at least win one of those 2. I could see a fluke being in there. The Raiders, they should handle. And then the Chargers, they could lose. And I would see them, I could totally see them throttling the Bills, where it's like, Bills are hot. Eagles have been playing bad. And then Philly just comes in and throttles them. So, it'll be a weird 3-2 or 4-1 stretch for Philly, but I think they're going to get right. I really do. Yeah. And its last one, which is very interesting. Could Kyle Monangai win Rookie of the Year?
No, he can't. Not even close. But it is a good story. That was a great performance. But I mean, look at all of his prior weeks. It's been very shaky, inefficient on the ground, and I don't know. I just have a hard time thinking he's going to get it over a Jackson Dart, a Tet McMillan, and a Emeka Ibuka. Quinshawn Judkins, it's just
he is 90-1, so I would say it's worth a sprinkle. I mean, it's at 90-1 is worth a sprinkle. I mean, there's 5 games left. There's 5 games left. I think you would, we never root for injuries, but I think you'd almost need a DeAndre Swift injury to have any chance in hell. It's definitely impressive though. I mean, he's averaging 4.9 a carry, so he has been extremely efficient. With 591 on the ground. Been a big touchdown guy with 5. And obviously the one game as a starter, 26 for 176. So super efficient. It's just going to be tough when you're in a timeshare because, you see with Henderson and Judkins now, they're not in the timeshare anymore. And then, Ibuka, I think, has fallen off significantly. I'm surprised he's still 3-1 with his fall off.
Yeah.
Warren at at 5.5 to 1 is interesting. Dart at 2 to 1, but he's missed some time now. But even Tet, like, I think there's no clear cut guy. So I mean, yeah, if you really think there's a chance, sprinkle it. I mean, I have Judkins right now. I have a future on him, so I'm probably chalking that up as a loss. But if he can have some dominant games down the stretch, I think this next 5 games, and I think that's also why we've seen Henderson with really like 3 dominant games over the last couple weeks get to 12 to 1, because it's just going to be recency bias where who's playing the best at the last 4 to 5 games, because there's no clear cut guy.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's kind of how I view it. So if you're on Monunga, I'd take it now after the big week and hope he can put together a couple more big weeks, because this is the first time in a while that I remember there's no clear cut guy. And you could really say on both sides of the ball. I mean, I guess Schwessinger's, at least Vegas thinks he's going to run away with it. I know he's been a tackle machine for the Browns, minus 550.
Wow.
So, yeah, but I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I love that pick, and if it wasn't for being a middle linebacker, I think he would have been a first rounder. It's just the value of the position. But I guess, he's top 7 in tackles right now. He's got, the 2 interceptions, 1.5 sacks, 106 total tackles. So dominating as a rookie. It's between really him and Jalen Walker at this point. But who was my pick before the season? Let's not forget that. But let's move on to San. Our current fantasy loser doesn't want to do the punishment, but okay, here we go. Our current fantasy football loser doesn't want to do the punishment in my league. Buy an Airbnb for the Super Bowl. What should be the alternative?
That is a crazy punishment. It's an awfully expensive punishment. So
yeah, it doesn't even. I think you guys could come up with something funny.
I tell you what we did in our first year that was awesome. I still think the best punishment I've seen across my 3 dynasty leagues, that was the loser playing golf in a dress. But you get the whole group together, so everyone plays around a golf. You do a scramble with the 3 teams if you have a group of 10 or 12, whatever, and the losers dress like in a pink tutu or something, That was really good for us because it had other outside people like taking pictures and laughing, right? So it was somewhat embarrassing, but you still got a good round of golf in with the fellas. So that's what I would recommend.
Really anything. You can't go with anything wrong, embarrassing. I think that's all very much in play. What I'll also say as well, you could just look back at really any punishment we've done for Around the Felt, and it's fair game. It is fair game.
There's a lot.
But yeah, I mean, I know in my, in high school, we had a fantasy league and we had like a talent show going on at the high school. So we got to kind of pick what he said. I mean, you could always look into the route of like trying to sign him up for a comedy show and say what he says within reason. But I would think you can't go wrong with any public embarrassment, because is it going to be that funny? Like, it's like, haha, like you had to spend all that money, but it's like kind of just sucks. Kind of asshole friends, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a terrible punishment, dude. That's expensive as fuck.
I'd rather see, or you could even do like the one, like let everyone fucking pelt him in the back with eggs. I mean, fucking.
Yeah, I did that. That hurt.
I mean, fucking, there's plenty of shit, especially out there in Michigan. Fucking middle of the winter, have his ass help out in one of those 5 lakes you got out there.
Yeah.
But all right, a betting question: Drake May MVP now that Stafford fucked up? Question mark.
Hey, Stafford with 3 turnovers. Open up the door for Drake May. I mean, let's see what he does against the Giants tonight. Not that the Giants have a good defense. It's not good at all. But no Will Campbell. Their starting left guard is out too. So maybe the pass rush can come alive and cause some havoc for the Giants. And Drake doesn't look amazing. But look, at the end of the day, he should tear up this defense. If he doesn't, though, it'll be alarming where it's like you had an opportunity to seize the top of the MVP ladder. Let's see.
That's another one. That's another one where it's kind of like open, I mean, tonight's a big game, like you said. I mean, it helps May that hasn't had the bye yet. So like he can't get hurt next week. I mean, I guess if Stafford's to ball out, maybe that hurts him, but he's, plus 120 right now. Stafford plus 105. Dak at 11 to 1 is very interesting, but I think the only way he wins it is if they make the playoffs.
Exactly.
Jordan Love at 15 to 1 is insane to me. Like, yeah, he had a good game on Thanksgiving, but haven't been impressed with him at all to think that he should win the MVP. Allen 18 to 1, same with him. Darnold 40 to 1, Mahomes 50 to 1, like I said, Caleb Williams now, I told you last week, 90 to 1 to take him. He's 60 to 1 now. Just with the stretch and stuff. And if they are the number 1 seed, I still think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Jonathan Taylor falling off a little bit the past.
Well, that was his next question. He wants to know
All
Or
right.
JT/JSN, new potential winners.
Yeah, I mean, but JSN also just had the worst game of his season, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem here. Is it's the perfect year for like a once in a blue moon. There's no quarterback that stands out for a record-breaking skill player to win it. A JT or a JSN. JSN would have to beat Calvin Johnson's record. JT would have to beat LaDainian Tomlinson's record. But there's an opportunity for him.
Yeah, I mean, JSN 80-1, JT now 75-1. So I think they're chalked.
Yeah, they've fallen off. I mean, yeah, a tough week.
And I just think
it
it's going to be a
takes.
quarterback, and that's the downside. A quarterback could have a bad week. One of these guys has a bad week, they fall so far down. It's just honestly the award at this point, and
you have
what
to
it's
be
become.
perfect almost as a skill position player, like perfect throughout the
Yeah.
season to get it. I mean, there's only one award that feels like it's like for sure locked up, and that's Depoy Myles Garrett. Everything else
Yeah.
seems like it's wide open going into week 14.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, hey, we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. But and then he wants punishment idea. Full pads on, get hit by a car.
Tell that's the deer you hit before this pod.
Yeah,
my boy should have popped a helmet on his antlers.
Yeah, dude.
He'd still be with us.
I mean, that's New Jersey for you, man. You'll be driving and a deer will just hop out of nowhere, and you're like, well, that sucks. I mean, the only perk is driving a truck never seems to fail. So that definitely was a nice, I guess, way to
my boy
to
in the
cope with
big
it.
rig just went Derrick Henry on that deer in the A gap.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way for me to cope with it. I don't know, but but yeah, that would be funny. And then he wants to know how many teams can realistically win a Super Bowl right now.
I mean, there's no like juggernauts, you know.
I
like,
would say
usually
realistically, every team that makes the playoffs. Like I think all four, like maybe outside of like one or two. Like if, I'm gonna be honest, if like Carolina or Tampa, whoever wins that, like I don't think they have the horses with how much they've struggled.
If Dallas gets in, you know they're absolutely not because Dak's going to choke like he always does. Like
but
Green Bay has a chance. If Detroit gets in, even on the outside looking in, I still think they have a chance. Chicago, if you're the 1 seed, of course you have a chance. You just miss a game, right? Philly, of course. San Fran, can't count them out. Do the Jaguars have a chance to win the Super Bowl? No. Not in my mind. The offense is too bad. I think you can eliminate Jacksonville. I think you can eliminate Houston. I think you can eliminate Indy. I think you can eliminate the South. I don't think any of them have a chance to win it. Man.
Yeah.
The Rams certainly do. The Seahawks with that defense, I mean, fuck, if Darnold could figure his shit out, I'm not counting them out. Buffalo, if they get in, you can't count them out. Chargers, I think the injuries are too much. I don't know if they can go all the way. Denver, they got a chance. KC, of course, it's KC. If they somehow sneak in, they have a chance. But, you know, and the winner of the North, like, do you think Baltimore, if they win it, do they have a chance if they get right? Like, I don't think Pittsburgh has a chance. I don't think if Cincinnati I don't know how the fuck that would even happen. They're not mathematically eliminated yet at 4-8, but they don't have a chance. So I could eliminate a few, but yeah, I think it's about 10 or 12 teams you could say have a legit chance.
Yeah. I mean, this is the most wide open I remember it in recent memory, you know, where there's not like, because I mean, a lot of times people would say like the Ravens and, you know, Bills were these juggernauts, but I wouldn't say that, you know, and even the NFC, like the Rams have looked so good. And they just lost to the Panthers, you know, and then, you know, the Rams did beat the Seahawks. So I just think it's open. The way I look at it is it's not even like what offense is playing hot. It's going to be like what defenses are on fire going into the playoffs. Like I feel like this is going to be the year of, you know, it's not the quarterback. It's, you know, what defenses can step up and really cause some takeaways. And right now, I mean, Seattle's a little bit scary right now. I mean, if Houston gets in, I mean, I wasn't super high on them. I'm still not super high on that offense, but that defense is tearing it up. So one of these teams, and even Denver, like they just find ways. So I could see a team with just a good defense, just in Green Bay, just lights out throughout the playoffs, and it doesn't matter what their offense does. They're just, you know, holding teams to like 10 to 15 points and just getting wins.
Yeah, as long as Jordan Love takes care of the football, they got Josh Jacobs. Like they can score enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for sure. All right, let's move on. Looks like first time submitting Garrett's boy Danny Pedretti. He wants to know, what the hell is wrong with Brian Thomas? Should I have any hopes for him in 2026 and beyond in dynasty format, or sell now?
Yeah, look, I just traded for BT in 2 leagues before the deadline on a buy low opportunity. I'm almost thinking that this year I'm pretty happy if he gets me double-digit points at my flex. Like, I have other options, so I'm good. Long-term play, though, you can't deny the talent. You can't deny he was 3rd in the league in receiving yards last year, half the season with Lawrence, half the season with Mac Jones. Jaguars have a deeper issue on that offense, and I think it is Trevor Lawrence. So for this year, you might be cooked. But for Dynasty, don't sell now. You're selling at a low point. He will bounce back. He's too talented. He's too good.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely don't sell now. You'd be selling at his low point. So better days are definitely ahead for him.
And he's still 22 years old, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And after what he did last year, like, he was 3rd in receiving yards in the whole entire league. So the talent's there. It's just he's got to get on the same page with Lawrence. And clearly they have not gotten to that point yet. His next question: Packers are favored by 6.5 points over the Bears next Sunday, despite Chicago being the number 1 seed in the NFC. Which side of this would you personally bet if you had to?
Is it in Green Bay or in Chicago?
It's in Green Bay.
I'd say Green Bay.
That's why they're 6.5 point favorites. I would think that would be insane if they were 6.5 point road favorites. You know, with how good Chicago's been and the big win they just had. Because let's not forget, I mean, freaking Green Bay lost to Philly. So for Chicago to go into there and do that is just insane. I personally lean Chicago cover, Packers win. I know I'm a big Bears guy. I just think the tides are changing there. It's not your parents' Bears. It's the new era with Ben Johnson, a team that can win. You know, I know Green Bay has historically dominated this one. I think they will split ultimately. It's just I got to give Green Bay the respect at home, but I think this is going to be way closer than people think. The Bears are legit to me. And while Jordan Love looks great on Thanksgiving, it's not like this Green Bay offense has been humming either. They've let a lot of bad teams hang around, and they've let a lot of bad teams beat them. So I think if the Bears can, play good on defense like they did against Philly, because something changed. And you could say, all right, that's the Eagles, and that's fair, but something changed with that Bears defense where they were playing fired up with all those backups. Getting Jalen Johnson's back is huge. So I'm expecting a low-scoring affair here. With Green Bay maybe winning by a field goal at the end or being up a couple points, but 6.5 is a huge line for the way both these defenses have been playing, I guess you could say.
I actually agree with you. That's my initial lean is Bear to cover 6.5. Feels like a lot. Packers play teams tight, but at Lambeau Field, I got to go with the Packers in that one. It just feels like it's just too hard to win there. Yeah.
No, I totally get that. So next he just said, turn me up, Garrett. There we go.
Appreciate that.
Next one, Brian. I'm assuming this is one of Garrett's boys also. He wants to know, is Jackson Dart a trustworthy top 10 fantasy quarterback headed into 2026?
I would say so. I mean, look, the big alarming factor is clearly they're making a conscious effort for him to run less. What's made him so freaking good in fantasy is the rushing. He has 7 rushing touchdowns. That's the most among all rookies at any position. He's only played 9 games, right? So, yeah, I mean, that upside is certainly there. He went on a stretch when he became the starter. QB 11, 16, 3, 3, 13, 7, 3. And that was not against an easy stretch of defenses. You had LA in there. You had Philly. You had Denver. You had Philly again. You had San Fran. Like, not easy. So, plus, you think about the fact he hasn't had Malik Neighbors that entire time.
Yeah.
So, for me, if he's going to continue to run, which they're making a conscious effort, slide, get down, no more design runs, you're not going to take that scrambling and competitive ability out of him, then yeah, I think he's surely a QB1 heading into next season. Not at the top end of the range because there's still a lot to prove, but I think he's in that conversation for sure.
Yeah, I think he'll be there. Whether or not I'll take him in fantasy leagues is very debatable. It really depends where his ADP ends up. I could see him getting a lot of offseason hype and his ADP being at a point where I'm like, I don't feel comfortable taking him there. We see this time and time again where they show a lot of flashes as a rookie. I mean, even saw it this year with Jaden Daniels. As good as he was last year, I never felt comfortable taking him in the 30s or 40s. So that's my hesitation. I don't think he'll get that high, but I think with the rushing ability he showed this year, which, like you said, it's going to decline, and the fact that, you're getting Malik Neighbors back, potentially adding another dynamic wide receiver, although
That's
I don't think they have to.
But
I don't know if they even have to. But that's my hesitation. It really depends on the ADP. But regardless of ADP, I still think he'll be a top 10 guy. But that's all we have for questions.
Wow, you guys really cooked today. That is awesome. We're 40 minutes deep into the pod. We haven't even gotten into the games yet. So
yeah,
it's the best. You guys cooked. We definitely appreciate it. But Reagan, I think it's time to dive into some games here. We're gonna bounce around a little bit. I don't think we necessarily have to talk about every game in super detail because a lot happened, and some of the games don't matter at all for playoffs at this point. So we'll see. But what does matter are all the Thanksgiving games. What a freaking slate, dude. What a slate. And the dogs were absolutely barking. The Packers got to win 31-24 over the division rival Lions. And this was huge in the division race, of course, with Chicago, where they are in the head-to-head. Packers now 8-3-1, Detroit 7-5. And it's tough for Detroit, man. They lost Amon-Ra St. Brown in the first quarter.
I guess we probably should have talked about that in the injury news, but
I forgot because it happened on.
I
did my search. It got buried.
Yeah, we can talk about that now, though.
Yeah, I mean it's a ankle sprain. It shouldn't be too bad. It's a 1 to 3 week kind of injury, which certainly hurts the Lions with where they are at 7-5, trying to get in the playoffs. Certainly kills you if you have him in fantasy. You're hoping he's back for week 15 for round 1 of your fantasy playoffs.
I mean, it helps because then while he's not playing this week, he's going to get 10 days off between the next game.
That is true. So that could be very good for him. Jahmyr Gibbs in this one, not the same performance we saw the week before, only 20 carries for 68 yards. So that Green Bay defense really showed up. And, outside of Isaac Tesla catching another touchdown when he ever gets targets, the guy just seems to catch touchdowns.
Yeah, dude, he's a red zone threat.
It was the JMO game, man. 7 for 144 and a touchdown. You got to imagine with the way that wide receiver depth chart looks right now with Tesla and Tom Kennedy. I mean, it's going to be a big JMO game next week, I would imagine. For the Packers, I mean, Jordan Love was awesome. 18 for 30, 234, 4 tutties in this one, 2 to Wicks, 1 to Watson, who has looked really good since he got back from that injury, which is pretty crazy because usually it takes guys a good amount of games to get right and look like themselves again.
Better than he ever has, to be honest.
He does, right?
This
and
might
he came
be the
back
best
quick.
version of Watson we've seen.
Yeah, and then Romeo Doubs, who Crampton shouted out earlier. Do you want Doubs or Jefferson? Doubs 4 for 20 and a touchdown. I guess that's better than Jefferson, but
Watson is
too crazy there.
If he's still out there in your leagues, which I would think he is. He probably still is out there in a decent amount of leagues. So to me, he's a must pick up if he is.
Yeah, Jacobs 17 for 83. No touchdown from Jacobs, which seems like he scores every week. So interesting here. Reagan, your thoughts on this game and the outlooks for both of these teams the remainder of the way?
I mean, Green Bay, huge win. You play the Bears twice, so you really do control your destiny in the division going forward. But not only that, I mean, they're only half a game back of the 1 seed, so very much alive to get that as well. Lions, massive blow. It almost feels like a winner goes home game now on Thursday night, where if Detroit is to lose again, right now they're 7-5
right now.
But if you fall to 7-6, well, normally that doesn't seem terrible. Then you're looking in a really bad spot because you're back 2 of San Fran. The good thing is, though, did they not play? I thought they played each other, San Fran and Detroit. Did they not? Oh, I guess they haven't. I was going to say, but regardless, you'd be back 2 of San Fran, and then you're behind Seattle and you're behind Green Bay. And did they play Seattle? No, they did not. So it really comes down to conference record. Looking at it right now, unfortunately, the Lions are 4-4 in conference. Seattle is 5-3. 49ers 8-2. So that could be really crucial down the stretch. So I would say that game is a must win for not only Detroit but Dallas as well.
I mean, Detroit's got to go 11-6 to get in.
They really do.
Yeah, go 4-1.
It is possible. I mean, it's definitely possible. Their schedule isn't the craziest thing. I mean, the Rams is going to be tough, but I still think they can win that one. Steelers, they should be able to handle. Vikings, they should be able to handle. Bears, yeah, it's going to be tough at the end of the year, but you might, if the Bears keep winning, you might be in a spot where they're benching their guys. But they did throttle the Bears early in the season. Granted, a lot changes throughout the season, but I would think they'll have a good game plan for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I have Lions in the Super Bowl preseason, so not ideal for my picks.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sure you're not feeling too hot about that right now.
No, my Lions, Ravens. No, I don't feel good about that at all. Not at all. Both teams are around 500, so Fuck. All right, moving on here.
Broncos Niners. I'm feeling good about that, brother.
Yeah, that Niners defense, though, are they going to last? I don't know.
We'll see.
All right, moving on here to the afternoon slate. The Dallas Cowboys in Jerry's World. How about them Cowboys? 31-28 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Cowboys 6-5-1. We've talked about the Cowboys earlier a lot, and if we think they can make the playoffs. Kansas City 6-6. That's tough. Let's just get through what happened for Dallas first, because I want to spend more time on KC. We haven't talked about them as much as we have Dallas tonight. Dak Prescott, mentioned it earlier, the MVP case, like the stats certainly back it up, but just where that team is, it's going to be tough for him to really win it. But another 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick here. Run game was pretty tough. I mean, tough sledding for Javonte Williams. Malik Davis did score in a 43-yarder, so that was nice. It was the CeeDee Lamb game, Reagan. You were absolutely right. He was so due. 7 for 112 and a touchdown. We got to say, too, I mean, fuck, the Around the Felt Thanksgiving parlay. Who took it? Who took it? Because the boys raked it in. And we did watch the night game together when Jamar Chase cashed us. So that was fun, celebrating that big dub for the boys. I mean, we cleaned up nicely, Reagan. So
no, we did.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Your pick was CeeDee Lamb. So hell yeah, brother. Got shout out to Garrett, too. Christian Watson in the early slate with the Packers.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was Dallas really looked good again. I mean, they've been on fire, since the Quinn and Williams trade. I believe they are now 2-0. 3-0. 3-0 since acquiring Quinn and Williams. And the defense has looked much improved.
Improved.
I'm not going to sit here and say a top unit, but definitely not. I would say they're leaning. They're around middle of the pack now, which is with
We're
that
not
offense.
talking about them with the Bengals anymore,
Yeah, and with that offense, it's all you need them to be, because they obviously have elite firepower between Pickens, Lamb, and even Javonte Williams at this point has been a nice rejuvenation in the running game. For Kansas City, man, I mean, Mahomes did look good, and the offense looked good. It's just the defense couldn't really get a stop. I mean, it's tough to win a game when your defense allows 31, but, I don't know. And I still think it's foolish for them to give Kareem Hunt the amount of volume he's getting right now. I mean, I don't know, but to be given a 30-year-old back that, I know Pacheco hasn't been great, but I can't imagine, and Brashard Smith as well. I'd like to see him get some more run, but something about Kareem Hunt, they just like him.
I mean, I don't know, man. Just because he's been there, he was drafted there. I know they love him, but you're right. Mahomes threw for 264 touchdowns. Rashee Rice was automatic, 8 for 92 and 2 touchdowns. Kelsey scored. Worthy looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Defense couldn't get the stops. I see so many Chiefs fans saying like, fire Brent Veach, get rid of Andy Reid. Like, we need a reset. Like, this team sucks. Like, we overpaid Karlaftis. We overpaid all these guys on defense who now suck. Like, we're fucked. And I'm like, holy shit, you guys are spoiled as fuck. Like, how many Super Bowls have you won with this regime? 3? Yeah. And you went to 5, and I'm seeing fire all these guys with one down year where they're 6-6. Holy shit. I would fucking die for 6-6 right now for my Giants. It's insane how spoiled these people are.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Swifties, and all they know is just winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're spoiled little brats now. It is funny, though. It really is funny. Terrible. I mean, we'll see what happens, but yeah, I mean, it's nice to have that. I mean, I don't know, man. Kansas City is in a tough spot. That's another one, too. I was talking about, like, Dallas and Detroit on Thursday night, but Sunday night between Houston and Kansas City, while it's not a must-win for Houston, obviously having one more win, for Kansas City, I mean, you could basically say the season's over, because not only that, then every team in front of you outside of Indianapolis has the head-to-head, and that might not matter anyway, because Indy might get bounced out even with you having the head-to-head. Because then Houston, and Houston too, if they lose, they're fine, because, they're still very much alive in that division with the Colts and the Jaguars, especially with the game against the Colts still. And I believe, I know Houston split with Jacksonville. But yeah, that'll definitely be an interesting game. But must win for Kansas City. I think we're steering towards them not making it.
Would you be shocked if they won 5 in a row?
Yes.
Playoffs? You would be shocked.
Very shocked. Very shocked.
Oh, the wheel just dies a slow death because it's a fucking punt return touchdown.
For the Patriots?
Yeah.
Fuck, there was a nice little DK thing going on for the longest touchdown, and I took the Giants D, but I should have taken the Patriots D because it's probably going to be the longest touchdown at 60 yards.
It was 94, brother.
Oh my gosh, you can cash that, bro. Who scored it?
Marcus Jones.
Fuck yeah, we're so chalked. Wrong defense. Right idea, wrong defense.
Yeah, that sucks ass. That's terrible. The wheel just never even a chance. Never even a chance. All right, man. Let's move on here. The Bengals, the return of Joe Burrow with no T. Higgins, just walk into Baltimore and go belt to ass on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. 32-14. Bengals now 4-8. Ravens now 6-6. If nothing else, it makes the division a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
With the Steelers losing too yesterday, which is crazy. My biggest takeaway from this game, Lamar Jackson is not healthy. He does not look right. He's not running 6 for 27. You're like, this is Lamar Jackson we're talking about, though. You know what I mean? And he just seems off. 17-32 for 246 and a pick against this Bengals defense.
It was some weird stuff, though. I mean, the Isaiah Likely fumble hurts. The Zay Flowers push off call where you don't see that
bullshit.
ever called.
Yes, that was
you know
bullshit.
what I mean? So there's 2 touchdowns that basically got taken away from boneheaded plays, and the fumbles that's just the one was weird too, where it slipped out of his hand and he was trying to pump fake.
2 fumbles. Yep.
So I'm not going to sit obviously he doesn't look 100%, but to sit here and act like, that was the biggest thing. I think it's more so just a lot of fluky things that went the Bengals' way. Because that defense certainly is not fixed. I just think they had a lot of takeaway luck in this one. But that's Zay Flowers. I mean, that was one of the weirdest calls. You see wide receivers get away with way worse and way more OPIs all the time. And I call that an OPI. That was
soft. You're alienating fans with how bad some of these calls are, where it's everyone now with the betting landscape, everyone's like, are these games fucking rigged? Does someone have money on this? Or are the refs involved with the mafia? Because this is bullshit. That was not a push off. Let the kids fucking play.
Yeah, that makes you think that for sure,
awful.
bro.
And Zay Flowers had 2 catches for 6 yards outside of that, right? If he has 3 catches for 56 and a touchdown, it looks a lot different. Right? And you're right. Lamar's stat line does look a lot different. Derrick Henry, 10 for 60 yards and a touchdown. I don't understand why Derrick Henry barely played. He had 10 carries to Keaton Mitchell's 2 and Rasheen Ali's 4. Henry got 1 carry. And Henry got 1 carry in the second quarter. So you can't even bring up how the score and they got out of hand because that's just not even accurate. They weren't giving the ball against this defense. What's going on there? What is Monken doing?
Yeah, it definitely makes you question it. Very, very odd.
Doesn't make sense. For the Bengals, though, Joe Burrow was awesome. 261, 2 touchdowns. Chase Brown, 15 for 78. I mean, the return of Joe Burrow will do that. You can't. I mean, it's just going to open things up for everybody. And Jamar Chase, 7 for 110 to cash the parlay. Shout out to Big Z. That was awesome.
Yes, sir.
That was awesome. We were Jamar Chase away scoring from Big Dogs cashing with the Amon-Ra Void. So another heartbreaker. But it is what it is.
Well, hopefully.
The Bengals,
hopefully. And if you are taking it, make sure you take it on legal books because those illegal ones are not going to give you that cool stuff that DK does.
No, they will not. Anything else you want to add to this game before we move on to Black Friday?
I mean, it definitely is going to be an interesting finish. I mean, the Ravens still got 3 division games left. I mean, could Cleveland make a run with their? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting, though. I mean, I still think Cincinnati's probably chalked. They're going to need some luck, but their schedule's really not crazy. If they can get past Buffalo and beat Baltimore, they end with Miami, Arizona, and the Browns. So I think there's a world Cincinnati could run the table. I find it hard to believe just with the defense, but would 9-8 be enough? Maybe. I mean, Baltimore's got a pretty tough schedule between the Steelers twice, Bengals once, Patriots, and then the Packers. So tough stretch for the Ravens. Pittsburgh, even like I said, the Ravens twice, Lions in there. Dolphins looking better. I mean, at 5-7, could they make a run? No.
No.
And then the Browns, Steelers, even though it's the Browns, that's going to be a close game. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out, but it's looking like we may have an 8-9 team representing that division, which would be hilarious.
Yeah, it's always funny when that happens. All right, Black Friday, man. We spent a lot of time talking about these Bears. Let's talk about a little bit more. 24-15 win on the road at Philadelphia, defending champs. What a win. And then Ben Johnson rips his shirt off in the locker room. Goes absolutely apeshit. You love to see that from the head coach. Chicago now 9-3, number 1 seed in the NFC. Philly 8-4. Caleb, you know what? He didn't have to be Superman in this one because it was the run game. Caleb, completion percentage below 50. That's 17 to 36. 154, a touchdown, a pick, the touchdown to Cole Kmet. Nothing else really to write home about in the receiving department for the Bears because it was Monungai, 22 for 130 and a touchdown. DeAndre Swift, 18 for 125 and a touchdown. That's crazy. And you know what's nuts, man? It's like in one off season, the Bears added 3 veteran offensive linemen and brought in Ben Johnson's run scheme, and they just completely became one of the best running teams in all of football. It's insane how quickly that happened and how quickly it turned. So shout out to Ben Johnson. Shout out to the Bears. That's pretty unbelievable that you could run the ball down defending champions' throats like that.
Yeah, no, it speaks volumes to how the Bears are a completely different team now. You know, they're definitely a team you look at as a legit force. I mean, like I said, I got them at 40-1. They're now 14-1, so they're starting to get their respect. And how do you not put the league on notice when you beat the Super Bowl champs? Like, how do you not put that? Like, how does that not put the league on notice?
It has.
So I was super impressed with that. I mean, for Philly, listen, they got some issues. You know, it does worry me a loss like this, but I do think the Bears are better than people are giving them credit for. But they got, you know, between stopping the run and the way Jalen Hurts and that offense looked, I mean, they can't run the ball. I mean, and in the passing the ball, it just seemed like Jalen Hurts was uncomfortable all game. Granted, it was a very windy day. It's not like either quarterback really lit up the stat sheet. But that's the difference, man. One team could run it down your throat. The other team couldn't do anything and was getting a loss of yards. I mean, this really should have been a big game for the Eagles' rushing attack with all the injuries the Bears had to their linebacking core, and they just still couldn't get it done. So Philly's got to fix their running game. You got to be able to run the ball in January and February. That's why they won last year. So not ideal. Not ideal.
Dude, I don't understand what's going on with. I understand no Lane Johnson, but Barkley 13 for 56 with this matchup after. I mean, the Bears just got absolutely torched by the Steelers the week before in the run game. It's just crazy to me, man. It's just crazy to me. I mean, A.J. Brown, 10 for 132 and 2 touchdowns. Like, that's cool. But I've actually seen, like, when A.J. Brown gets the ball a ton, the Eagles actually lose a lot more often than they win. Because it's just the way this team is built, you know? So, I don't know, man. They are the Eagles. They're still going to find a way to get in the dance. And once they're in there, they can beat anybody, right? But they are slumping a little bit, and it's somewhat concerning.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's definitely concerning, but, you know, that was a big reason for why I took the Bears was it's just when the Eagles are slumping, they're slumping, they'll lose. Like, it's funny. They always will lose 2 in a row or 3 in a row, and then all of a sudden they'll go on a streak. So I think this week against the Chargers, they'll get right. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they win the next 5. And it's like, yeah, remember all those hiccups the Eagles had? Well, they still finished 13-4, and they're primed to, they ended up getting the 1 seed, and they're in a great spot to repeat.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's move on now to the Sunday slate. The Niners take care of the Cleveland Browns on the road, 26-8. Doesn't matter how good that Browns defense is when they can only put 8 points on the board against the Niners defense, which, by the way, I got to give my credit to Robert Saleh. I know this is not the most potent offense, but Niners are keeping it together, man, with all those injuries on the defensive side of the ball, and it's impressive. So they're 9-4 now. Cleveland's 3-9. Their season's pretty much done. Purdy 16-29, 168 and a touchdown. Fine for going against the Browns. Like, McCaffrey couldn't get going on the ground. He did score. So did Purdy. He actually scored as well. Jawan Jennings got one through the air. It was Kittle, the leading receiver, 4 for 67. Like, kind of what you expected this time of year going into Cleveland, the stat sheet.
Yeah.
But, for the Browns, Shador 16-25 for 149 and a touchdown. Like, taking care of the ball. A couple throws were dicey. Could have been picked off, but he's fine. Judkins, 23 for 91. It's very clear that they want to give the ball to Quinshon Judkins as much as they can. I actually saw it came out. Niners players were saying that, that dude Judkins is a stud. So at least if you have Judkins in fantasy, you could feel happy about that long term. But outside of him and Harold Fannin Jr., 3 for 43 and a touchdown, nothing else to really feel good about on that Browns offense right now.
Yeah, I mean, Judkins is 7th in carries on the year, so they're using him like a workhorse with missing the week 1 and then being limited in week 2. It's like you are really reaping the rewards if you were a benefactor of the uncertainty during your drafts. But the Niners, man, they just keep winning, dude. It's crazy because, with all those defensive injuries, and I know it's the Panthers who are up and down and the Browns who, they're not known for having a good offense, but the past 2 weeks they've held their opponents to under 10 points. and they're probably going to do it again next week because they're playing Tennessee. So,
Yeah.
it definitely is like, listen, all these guys get paid to play, and with all the injuries for the Niners, it's like, that's pretty impressive to be able to do that. Robert Saleh is really going to be a hot name come this coaching cycle with how this defense is played, because, they looked good with those guys, but to lose those guys and still have them producing at a high level, I mean, I don't know how that doesn't get you a head coaching job, especially, they're primed to make the playoffs, I would think, at this point. They go with Tennessee. You think that's an easy win. They go to 10-4. I'm sorry, they're on bye. Then they have Tennessee and go to 10-4. And then you think after that, I mean, Colts, Bears, Seattle to end it up. Like, I still think even if you lose all three, 10-7 is good enough to get you into the playoffs. But we'll see. I would still think even 1-2. So they're looking at like probably an 11-6 season. But I mean, hey, they're still very much alive in that division right now. I mean, the Rams at 9-3, Seattle at 9-3. They're at 9-4, and they still have a game with Seattle, and they split with the Rams. So, what's the division records there? Yeah, the Rams are 2-1 in the division. Seattle's 2-2, and the Niners are 4-1. So the Niners have been taking care of business. Obviously beating Seattle once already. Splitting with the Rams and beating the Cardinals twice. So that does bode well for them down the stretch to win that division, is the fact that they're taking care of their division games.
It's a good point. All right, man. Let's move on here. Speaking of those Titans and how they're probably not going to score 10 points, they put up 3 against the Jaguars and a 25-3 loss to 1-11, 0-7 at home for the Tennessee Titans. Jags 8-4. I mean, it's a win you got to have in the division race, and they got it. Lawrence, 229, 2 touchdowns. Run game, pretty much non-existent. Of course, I mentioned earlier, Bashal Tutin snaked the ETN touchdown to not cash big dogs the last leg, which is the lone leg that didn't hit. Really, really upsetting. But, it is what it is. They couldn't get the ball going on the ground. Jacoby Myers, 6 for 90 and a touchdown. Brenton Strange scored. And yes, Brian Thomas, 2 for 28 for the Titans. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the game log and the stats about this team. I just have one question. Is this the worst? Is this the worst team in the history of the NFL? They have one win. The Browns went 0-16. I get it. They have one win. But just watching them, have you ever seen a worse football team in your life in the NFL? I don't know. I don't think so. Like, this is insane.
I mean, the fact that they're averaging 14 points a game, which actually sees highs. I was almost,
that does feel high, right?
I mean, I guess it's just a lot of garbage time work, and that even that Cardinals game, like Cardinals did everything possible to lose that one. Yeah, I mean, it's rough. I mean, they have a very winnable game this weekend against Cleveland, and they still have the Saints. So, there's still a world where they are a 3-win team somehow, some way. And you never know where Jacksonville is going to be the last week of the season, depending on if they have the division clinched up somehow. So they potentially have 3 winnable games left. Imagine if they play the Chiefs in week 16. Imagine if somehow the Titans are the ones to knock the Chiefs out of the playoffs.
That'd be insane. I'm saving the Chiefs for Survivor for that week. So if I'm still there,
I don't have them anymore. But there you go. That's definitely one you could save. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. It really will be. But I don't know. And you can't even properly evaluate Cam Ward, because it's just like you look around him and it's like you don't have a ton of talent. Like, DK's looked great, especially as a returner. Ayumanor has shown flashes, but it's like that's not really setting him up for success.
Dude. No run game, no offensive line.
I was going to say no run game, no offensive line, intern head coach. So somebody will want the job, and somebody will have a perfect plan to turn him around, and hopefully, in the offseason they can bring in enough weapons to make that happen. But I don't know. Right now it's just not ideal. And for Jacksonville, just another big win. They just keep getting it done. And now they sit atop of the AFC South. So, Liam Cohen, man, definitely a front runner for a coach of the year.
Well, Reagan, speaking of the AFC South, let's talk about that game next. The other 2 teams within the division, Houston and Indy. Houston, 20-16 win, 7-5 now in the season. Colts, 8-4. What a massive, massive win for the Texans to put them right in the thick of things for the division, where, a month ago, you thought they were dead to rights with the way the Colts looked, and they were sitting at 3-5. Now in a 4-game win streak, Houston's right back in it. Stroud, 276. No touchdowns. Had a pick, but he played pretty damn well here. Run game was Nico Collins scored on the ground. Nick Chubb scored on the ground. Woody was pretty non-efficient, but got the job done. Nico, you mentioned earlier, 5 for 98 once Sauce kind of left the game. Jaden Higgins, the rookie, 5 for 65. That's a good performance from him. For the Colts, you know what? Jones, 14 to 27, 201, 2 touchdowns. I think it was probably worse than what the stat line would indicate towards the back end of that game. JT, 21 for 85, like 4 yards of carry for JT. Just, I mean, that's pretty good for most running backs, but still for JT, just you kind of want to see a little bit more. But it is the Houston Texans. They're the number 1 defense in the league for a reason. And, receiving-wise, Pierce, 4 for 78, a touchdown. Tyler Warren scored again, playing with an illness. But, honestly, this just kind of was the perfect game script for Houston and how they want to play football, getting a win 20-16. That's how they're going to win these games.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, the Colts, this is when you got to win, and now you're spiraling. I'm a little worried about the Colts. The offense doesn't look as good. Daniel Jones is injured. I mean, does it get to a point where they got to switch to Richardson? Not that Jones is benched because of his play, but just medically where it's like.
With the leg, yeah.
Yeah.
Richardson's not even cleared right now. We were talking about it. It's going to be Riley Leonard, right?
Yeah.
Which you're fucked if it's Leonard. They're fucked.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, the Colts, their last, and they got a tough schedule, a very tough schedule, actually. All teams they're playing have 8 or more wins. So there's a very good chance the Colts could miss the playoffs. I mean, they still play the Jaguars. Then they got Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville, Houston. So in a sense, they control their own destiny, but it is not looking good right now. I mean, they were getting a lot of, early season buzz, but it's like, wow, this is turning out to be a gauntlet of a second half schedule right now. I mean, even then, just for them to make the playoffs right now, I'm curious what their odds are. Like, I would think it's plus odds at this point for them to make the playoffs. The fact that they're not offering it right now, but they were one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. They're now 12-1. I feel like that is terrible.
Oh, I would never put my money behind that. No way.
Those are terrible odds. I would. Right now I like the way Houston's playing better, and I certainly like the way Jacksonville's playing better at 28-1. I guess it just maybe has to speak to the point of their team, and even Houston's 28-1. Wow. Actually, San Francisco at 30-1 is interesting, just saying. But very interesting.
All right, with all that being said, Reagan, we're sitting here. Colts at 8-4, Jags at 8-4, Texans at 7-5. Who's your pick to win this division?
Jaguars. I mean, to me, they were my preseason pick, so got to stand strong with that one. And looking at it right now, like division record, I mean, 2-1, 2-1. Houston's 4-1. So Colts are not in the best spot in that aspect, because of the fact that at least Jacksonville is split with Houston already, and the Colts are back one. But yeah, I'm still going to take Jacksonville, especially because Houston, obviously is one game back of both. Houston's got a tough schedule too with the Chiefs, Chargers, and Colts on the schedule. They do have the Raiders and Cardinals, which should be winnable games, but I don't know. The way that offense is played at times, can't say anything certain for that team.
I know. If they all the same record, I think I'd go with my preseason pick, Houston, especially with a 4-game win streak. Jacksonville, just the fact that their offense doesn't even seem to be firing on all cylinders yet, and they're 8-4, is pretty dangerous for them to win this division.
They got the Titans and the Jets still too on that schedule.
Yeah,
that at least gets them to 10-7. I mean, and then between the Colts, Broncos, and Colts, you think they're going to split the Colts one, and who knows where the Broncos are at. But the Broncos, as good as it been, a lot of close games. So I would imagine that's another suit. But still, I mean, I could see Jacksonville going 4-1 down the stretch, and they're looking at 12-5 in the playoffs.
True that. All right, man, moving on here. How much do you want to talk about your Jets getting a big win, 27-24, huh?
We don't spend a ton of time on this one just because it's 2 non-playoff teams. I mean,
2 non-playoff teams, but hey, Breece Hall, 19-68 for a touchdown, added 2 catches for 8. You kind of like to see more from him. He said after the game he kind of felt like he was a decoy, and Atlanta was just trying to take him away. So
I mean, it's smart. That's what I would do if I was playing the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, if you look outside of Breece Hall, it was really just A.D. Mitchell, and really no one else did much for this offense. A.D. Mitchell, 8 for 102 and a touchdown.
Hey, Tyrod 8 for 44 with the touchdown. Give him some love as a runner.
That's true. Old man Tyrod can still scamper around a little bit. Big G had him in his felt 5 actually, so
Fucking,
it's good
I
for
hate
Big
being a
G.
week. I love being a week early. I mean, AD Mitchell, I had him over 59.5 or 69.5 last week. Yeah, that was my 5-unit play, was over 79.5 last week at plus 930. So just a week early. I knew he was due for a big game coming. You could just tell. So that hurts. But as a Jet fan, super happy to see that.
You know what else hurts, Reagan? Being 4-8 like the Falcons without your first round pick. That hurts. I mean, fuck. I mean, and you know what, man? You know what's crazy? The pass rush for Atlanta this season has been awesome. It's the best pass rush they've had in what feels like decades, right? It's been really freaking good. And they gave up their first round pick to do that. Like James Pierce Jr. had a sack in this game. But they fixed their biggest weakness
and it hasn't
that they've had for the past 5 years, and they're still 4-8. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
that's the thing with the NFL, man. Like, there's always going to be holes on your team. You can't possibly have stars everywhere unless you're Philly last year, right? Like, it just does not happen. They put all the resources necessary, 2 first-round picks, into fixing that pass rush, and they fixed it, and they're 4-8. Crazy, man. It's crazy. Kirk Cousins wasn't necessarily bad in this game. 234 and a touchdown. No turnovers. Not bad. Bijan 23 for $142 and a touchdown, plus 51 through the air. So 193 total yards from Bijan. Pitts 7 for 82. Like, I see that, and Algier punched another one in, of course. I see that, and I'm like, oh yeah, Atlanta definitely won this game. The fact that they lost 27-24 on that field goal from your boy Nick Folk, who had a miss, his first miss, I think, right? His first missed field goal in like a very long time.
Yeah, but then hit the game winner.
Then he hit the game winner, and it was a duck, and it somehow got through. It's just, I can't believe the Falcons lost this game, man. I really can't.
Yeah. You know what I'll also say too for the Jets, or for Nick Folk specifically, it's kind of cool because he was our kicker back with like Sanchez and Rex Ryan, and then went around to a bunch of other teams. And it's just cool to see that not only was there a time where he beat Atlanta at home on a walk-off field goal, like 10 years prior, so it was cool to see that clip. But also it was just like, just seeing the old clips of him making big-time kicks when he was like a rookie during the last time the Jets was good. So moral of the story is the Jets are going to turn it around because of Nick Foles. Or Nick Folk.
Nick Foles. I was like, holy shit, you're going that
down
in the quarterback.
No disrespect. No disrespect. Yeah, get Folk and Foles together, the dynamic duo.
All right, man, moving on here. The Buccaneers get a much, much needed win, 20-17 over the Arizona Cardinals. They're now 7-5. Arizona 3-9. Baker, pretty good, 194 and a touchdown in this one. Did have a fumble, but they did not lose it. So there you go. The return of Bucky Irving. Holy shit. Yes. I've missed you so much, Bucky. And it's crazy because Bulls definitely played Arizona a little bit, saying, yeah, he's going to work in there. He'll get some touches, but we're going to go with Bucky, Rashad, and Sean and like ride the hot hand, and they're all going to be involved. Bucky 17 for 61 and a touchdown. 2 carries apiece for White and Tucker. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, I did not think
Bucky also had 2 receptions. Like that. So, I mean, it's just awesome to see Bucky Irving back in action. Really, really miss watching him play, and my fantasy team missed him even more. Godwin, 3 for 78. Ibuka, another tough one, 4 for 42. And now it looks like Mike Evans has a chance to be back in week 14 with the broken collarbone. He only needs to average like 150 yards a game over the last 4 to break 1,000. So maybe Baker's going to pump the ball to Big Mike down the stretch. But, hey, we'll see. We'll see. But reinforcements are coming for Tampa Bay, so this win was massive for the Cardinals. Going to spend too much time on them. I mean, they're out. Jacoby Brissett threw for 300, at least for fantasy. They're fun because McBride, 8 for 82 and a touchdown. The return of Marv, 6 for 69. Bam Knight scored. So they're a little fun in fantasy, but season's over. But what a win for the Bucs. Very much needed.
Yeah, it was a very much needed win. I mean, obviously, it was one that you hoped to win and also have the Panthers lose. So you didn't gain a ton of ground, but, it's just one where you had to win with how much they were struggling with all the injuries. Great to see Bucky back. I actually benched him in most of my leagues. I thought the way Sean Tucker had been playing, that he had carved out a bigger role. And I thought, with Bucky and the fact that they waited so long to bring him back, it was like, all right, they're going to ease him into it. I did not think after missing the past like 10, 8, 9 weeks that they would just go right back to it. with him getting that volume, but he looked great, man. I mean, the 19, attempts, that's good. So I guess if you have him in your leagues, if hopefully you were able to survive, after spending a second, third round pick on him and aren't a playoff push, like this is a nice addition you'll have for your playoff teams. Unfortunately, if you weren't able to survive it, it sucks to now see this, that it's like, wow, he's back and this is what could have been. Godwin too. Also nice to see. It's, pretty clear having those two guys back will be huge. So, Godwin, I think, is going to be a guy that's going to be popping up questionable every week. I still don't know if you could play him with confidence in your lineup, but this is very encouraging. And on the Cardinals side, it's like, whatever, they got eliminated from the playoffs, but for fantasy, it's like, as long as Jacoby Brissett's playing, he's going to slang it around the yard, and all these guys are going to be relevant. And I know they didn't activate Kyler's window, so we're at least guaranteed another week. I think at this point, he's probably done for the season. I find it hard to believe that they would bring him back at this point, being eliminated. And, whether or not he's their franchise quarterback, he's still a valuable asset to them. Or maybe more of a negative asset, but I don't think they're going to want to run him into the ground unless they're like, hey, we want to trade him and see if he can show some stuff over the next couple of weeks to up his trade value.
That's really the only thing it's going to be, right? Because I think he might just sit out the rest of the season too, because they seem like they're going to have a divorce. But if he's healthy, are they just going to bench him then? Like that doesn't look good for his trade value. Where if you plug him back in the starting lineup when the season's lost anyways, like try to juice him up a little bit, get him some easy throws, get him some good stat lines. I mean, I'm sure that's not what teams think about, but I don't know, from a trade value perspective, right? Like him sitting on the bench and being benched per se is not the best look.
Yeah, and I'll say too, I mean, fucking Michael Wilson only 3 for 36, still 7 targets, but Marv being back to 6 for 69 is huge. So, it's definitely something of note for sure.
Agreed. All right, man, let's move on here. Your Carolina Panthers. What a call out of you. I know you pick them every week,
sir.
But this week it worked out in your favor. Big win
over
the Rams.
Bro. You going to eat crow? You believing yet? Are you buying into these Panthers?
Dude, they're just – I don't know what to expect week in and week out with this team, but if this is the Panthers team I'm going to get, I'm buying in.
Could be.
I'm buying in. They just beat the Rams, who were the hottest team in football, dude. 31-28. They're now 7-6. The Rams 9-3. Bryce Young, 15-20, 206, 3 touchdowns. The nuts that this kid had on that fourth down the field to Tet McMillan, which, by the way, the Rams were like, we're going to take out Tet McMillan. This guy's not going to beat us.
He beat him once.
He had
that's
one
all they
catch
needed.
for 43 yards, and he did, in fact, beat him with the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
Crazy. The run game, I mean, both backs were very involved. Chuba, 17 for 83. Rico, 18 for 58.
I think weather played into this as well, though. I mean, it was pouring rain.
That is true. That is true.
But still, I mean, Chuba looked good. Chuba, I think, also having a hot hand early definitely led to him getting more touches. But, I think this is always going to be the recipe for Carolina to win. You don't want Bryce Young throwing the ball like 30, 40 times a game. You'd rather keep him around the 20 mark. And clearly, this is a great recipe. I mean, only the second time this year over 200 yards, and he only needed 20 attempts to do it. Jalen Coker's a guy, too. I would definitely consider if you need some starts this week with the bye weeks. No, wait, he's not playing this week.
They're on a bye. He 4 for 74 and a touchdown though from Coker. I've had him stashed for like 2 years in some of my leagues, and finally seeing it.
But we'll see on that. For the Rams, I mean, it's not the best loss. Not the worst loss you can have. I mean, I still, the Panthers are a legit team. Whether people believe it or not, they've beaten the likes of Green Bay, the Rams, and who else did they beat? Oh, and Dallas. So they've beat 3 teams that you could say are legit threats in the NFC this year, that they've beaten in big-time upset wins. So they're legit. I mean, for the Rams, too, I mean, they were just piss hot. They were due for a dud game. The way Stafford was playing, it was like he was untouchable. So for him to have 3 turnovers in this game, it was like you had to assume he was due for a blow-up game.
Still 2 touchdowns to Davante Adams, who is as automatic as it gets, dude. Holy shit.
14 touchdowns right now. Only 689 yards and 52 catches, but 14 touchdowns. Holy shit, bro. They love his ass in the red zone. He scores a touchdown
on over a quarter of his receptions. That's fucking nuts.
I mean, his best he had 18 in 2020, but that was in 14 games. So even if he breaks that, it might not be as impressive. So, but still, I mean, to be at 32, putting up this amount of touchdowns is absurd. I mean, really keeping fantasy teams alive just with scoring touchdowns. Not his actual play on the field, but you take away 8 of those touchdowns, you're talking like, is he kind of washed? But Sometimes that's all you need, man.
Last thing for this
Sometimes
game.
that's all you need.
Blake Corum, 7 for 81 and a touchdown. Kyron Williams, 13 for 72 and a touchdown. Blake Corum kind of looked more explosive here, and he's getting a little bit more run. If you're a Kyron holder, should you be concerned that Blake Corum's coming for more of that backfield? I'm a little bit concerned.
No, I don't think so. Kyron got banged up in this one and missed some time. So
Ankle, yeah.
I think it's more of a factor of that long season. I wouldn't be worried. I still think Kyron's going to get 60%, and I'll take 60%. Even if it's a little bit less, it's still such a high-powered offense. There's going to be red zone opportunities. If anything, Davante Adams worries me more than Blake Corum, the fact that they're giving these 1-yard fade routes and 1-yard plays where it's like, just hand the ball off to Kyron. So if anything, that's the bigger distraction or, killer of Kyron's fantasy stock.
True. All right, man. Seahawks, Vikings, 26-0 for Seattle, 9-3 in the season. Minnesota 4-8. Look, I don't want to spend a lot of time in this one. We're already an hour and 20 into the pod. Obviously, Max Brosmer is not the long-term answer for Minnesota. 4 interceptions, 5 turnovers in general. The Seattle Seahawks defense, Legion of Boom, got me 32 fantasy points in 2 leagues. So just want to shout them out. JSN got blanketed. Fine. Minnesota was not going to let him beat him. Doesn't matter when their defense puts up a performance like that, even scoring. The Seattle defense outscored Minnesota's entire team. So anything you want to talk about that game? I don't necessarily think we need to go in depth there.
It's just, bro, I had the Seattle defense and Jason Myers in a league, and they got me 55 combined, which was just such a nice duo. It was insane, bro.
Football, man, you gotta love it.
I mean, I won the week alone. The guy texted me. He's like, "Yeah, that sucks." He's like, it's hard to beat somebody, but I mean, Jason Myers was 4 for 4 with 4. You had 4 field goals and 2 extra points. And then the Seattle defense with just 4 interceptions, the pick 6. It's like shit. So that defense looks legit, is legit, and for the Vikings, like you said, Brosmer is not the answer. I saw some guy on NFL Network was like, "My bold prediction is Max Brosmer over 450 passing yards." It's like, oh, that was a little bold. I think even 300 would have been bold to call, but I mean, I guess I
would have been bold.
I guess I sort of believed it. I thought Jefferson could go for 100. I believed it was a 9 problem, but I think it might just be a Vikings in general problem. I am interested to see what happens.
Brosmer's an undrafted rookie free agent, though. Like, you can't.
I mean, bro, we saw Nick Mullins slanging around the yard.
That's true. But that's what makes me think it's not a Vikings problem, because Josh Dobbs had fucking big games. Joshua Dobbs had big games.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Where it's like, for me, it's probably just these 2 young bucks that are just way in over their head.
Fair.
I want to spend more time talking about 9 and McCarthy and, all that shit down the road, but we have a lot of time to do that. Not the pod for it. He didn't play, but, we got to start thinking about maybe potentially adding a veteran quarterback in that room and letting 9 sit for another year or some shit. It's definitely a concern. All right, man. The Bills beat the shit out of the Steelers, 26-7 here. It was not pretty to start. Buffalo improves to 8-4. Pittsburgh 6-6. Steelers were up early, and the Bills offense could not get going. Josh Allen not playing like Superman, to be completely honest with you. The receiving game, passing attack for Buffalo has not been there all year. James Cook, 32 carries for $144. Yeah, that'll play. Josh Allen did score a touchdown. He's now the number 1 quarterback all time in rushing touchdowns, surpassing Cam Newton. And think about how much more time this guy has to play. It's actually nuts to think about. Rodgers, 10 of 21 for 117. Left briefly after getting absolutely destroyed by Joey Bosa on the sack and then the scoop and score. Bloodied up nose. Rudolph comes in, doesn't complete a pass, throws an interception. Just a shit show. Warren scored. Run game was non-existent. I mean, Rodgers said after the game, like, when there's film sessions, we all got to be there. We all got to be locked in. And when I check to a route, you got to run the right route. So clearly, this Steelers team is not in sync. There's fire Tomlin chants. Holy shit. Of all these years with Mike Tomlin, nearly 2 decades, it's insane that we're seeing fire Tomlin chants now. Not good in the Steel City, Reagan.
No, not at all. I mean, good enough to go 9-8. Good, I guess. But yeah, no, I mean, and I at halftime, it was, or even like late in the second quarter, I was like, damn, like Steelers look great, but just that offense fell apart in the second half. And Buffalo, man, dominant game. Josh Allen, doing Josh Allen things, doing what they need. But I mean, the funny thing is, like, Pittsburgh still doesn't have to worry. Like, they're tied for first place right now. So it's like even at 6-6, where it's like Buffalo might be more worried right now about their playoff hopes than the Steelers are. Because you got to think the Patriots are going to run away with that division, and Buffalo's not catching them. So with how tight the wild card thing is, it's might not be that crazy to say actually the Steelers still have a better chance of making the playoffs. Nah, it's crazy. Nah, it's crazy. Nah, it's crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy. All right, man. Moving on here. Divisional matchup, AFC West. Chargers 31-14 over the Raiders. They're now 8-4. Raiders 2-10. We know their season's done. Genty pretty much bottled up here. Offensive line's garbage. I mean, how many times did 5 sacks on Geno Smith? Not going to get it done. Run game, non-existent. Bowers, 4 for 63 and 2 touchdowns. Outside of that, nothing going for this Raiders offense, dude. They're garbage. Geno Smith should retire. I mean, it's asinine. Herbert, we talked about it earlier.
I will say real quick, I don't think Geno's got much left in the tank, but I think the offensive line is a bigger. I don't think it's necessarily I don't think there's many people you could put behind there that would have a better outcome. That offensive
That's true. It is so bad. Like even if Ashton Genty, this all-world running back talent, can't get anything going more than 2 yards a carry, like clearly you have a bigger problem there, and changing your offensive coordinator is not fixing it.
And I think somebody will give Geno another opportunity. I don't know who. I just think somebody else will give Geno an opportunity, and we'll see what happens. But I could see him having a better season next year in a different location, because I still think he's not the long-term answer, and you're going to have a top 5 pick. So it's hard to believe you don't draft a quarterback in that spot. Although you might just want to go lineman after what you've seen happen this year, because if you throw a rookie quarterback into that situation, are you really setting him up for success?
No, not even the slightest. So they got to put a lot of resource in that offensive line for sure. I mean, the story of this game really is the Chargers. Herbert coming back from the hand. We talked about it earlier. 151, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 15-20, pretty efficient. Come on, Vidal. I mean, 25 for 126 and a touchdown. I don't even think it matters who's at running back and who's on the offensive line, because Jim Harbaugh teams just know how to run the freaking football. Jarrett Patterson coming in there from the practice squad, 11 for 54 and a touchdown. I mean, that's the moral of the story here. Passing game, non-existent. Johnston scored. McConkey scored. McConkey, the leading receiver, 39 yards. But Chargers, that's how I want to play, man. Play good defense, run the ball down your throat, and let Justin Herbert be Justin Herbert when they need him to be.
Yeah. I mean, this is why I said to take him in Survivor, because there was going to be a lot more opportunities. So at least they didn't make it sweaty on us. I guess the most sweaty part was when Herbert went down. It was like, it's 7-0.
I was like, fuck. Oh, no, Trey Lance. This is dicey for Survivor. Like, half the pool's got him. This just seems so, trappy, and this is where half the pool dies on week 13, right? But
I was surprised, dude. The pool I was in, too, 15 of the 30 people took the Chargers. I'm like, damn. I thought and then not one person took the Patriots tonight. And I was like, wow, that's so surprising. The only people that got bounced in mine were the people that took the Rams over the Panthers. So mine went from 30 to 27 people. I'm like, wow, 5 weeks left with 27 people. I'm like, I may make it through the whole year and get fucked on the strength of victory.
Yeah, dude, I tell you what, Laporte's, I think, has 23 people left. Only one person eliminated with the Eagles. One person. And then there's one person, Chirp's got the Patriots tonight, so that's still alive. But everyone else went Seattle, LA, and a couple San Francisco against Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, that'll suck to go the whole year and have a strength of victory. But next week's going to be a tough one looking at it. There's no double-digit favorites. I mean, I'm leaning towards Tampa Bay right now based off of what I have left. At home against the Saints. Seems like a pretty safe play. I say that now, but I figure it's a hedge. At least if they lose, my Panthers' future looks better. So it's a mental hedge.
True. That is true.
No matter what, good outcome.
Hedge. I love that mental hedge. All right, man.
Yeah.
Final game here, Sunday Night Football. Broncos win 27-26 in overtime. 10-2 on the season. Commanders 3-9. I'm the douchebag that as soon as it went to overtime, I fell asleep and woke up with my phone on my face. Like, what the fuck happened? I just completely passed out. So I missed overtime. And I'm mad at myself because I had 2 tickets last night. When Big Dogs lost, I was pissed off. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take Harvey to score straight up. I said, you know what? I'm going to take him to score fucking twice because it feels like that's what's going to happen with the whole ETN fiasco. And little did I know, when I woke up in the middle of the night, Harvey scored in overtime. And he got his second touchdown. Bo Nix, 321, a touchdown and a pick. I mean, it's pretty freaking good. But everyone carves up his Commander's secondary. Let's be honest here. Harvey, not great on the ground, 13 for 35, but did punch in 2 touchdowns. Evan Ingram, the best game of his season, 6 for 79.
Well, that's what I was going to say real quick. I mean, he's a guy to definitely monitor. I don't know. I don't even think you have to monitor him. He's a guy I might try to pick up, for fantasy, because the tight end landscape is so trash already. And he was drafted to be an impact guy, really hasn't been, but 9 targets at the tight end position is definitely something. And it's like, hey, he's starting to get more and more of a role there. So I think he's a fair play at this point. I mean, there's really only like 4 or 5 guys you can lock in for certain. The rest, it's just like streaming. And, you try. It does seem like it's always playing roulette with these tight ends, and you're always chasing a good performance, and you just get a couple duds, and then you start them at the wrong time. But that's definitely something for me that's interesting. And I will say, too, Cortland Sutton scored, so that's who I wanted for big dogs. But we were both right. You just didn't want the juice, but it didn't matter anyway. Bo Nix, I was impressed. I guess the Commanders have more fight to them than I thought. And Zach Ertz, the 10 for 106 is very, very encouraging, but I would think most people have him scooped up. But with Mariota's history and the fact that, do you think Jaden Daniels is going to come back? I don't know.
I mean, he was back at practice. I think they said there's a chance he plays this week, but I just don't see the points at 3-9. Well, look, I get it, because people are like, "What's the point with Joe Burrow coming back? What's the point with Jackson?"
Well, they're
Dart
not dead
back?
officially.
Yeah, but what's the point with Jackson Dart coming back? Like, there is still something where
his point is like,
you want to play. Like, they still want to play. They still want to get reps. They get paid a lot of money to play. They want to see, like, the fans want to see him play. Like, there is that aspect of it too, right? But if for Jaden Daniels with a serious injury like that, like, you're risking something more long term, which is kind of different, right?
Yeah, fair.
But I understand the thought process where it's like, look, I'm getting paid to do this. This is my job. Like, the fans want to see me play. Like, I want to be out there. I want to play. Yeah, it's hard to tell someone that wants to play that now we're actually going to sit you when you're healthy, right?
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair. What was I going to say? And for the Broncos, man, it's just like, for a 10-2 team, they really don't want to. They definitely don't. They don't want to dominate. I mean, their point differential's got to be like plus 20, plus 30 at this point. It can't be anything major. Well, I'm actually curious what their point differential is, because all of these games have been so freaking close. I mean, they just don't. They don't win. I mean, when they win, it's just like a field goal or like a couple points. Yeah, I mean, a plus 66 point differential at 10-2 is insane.
That is insane, bro. It's like it can only last for so long, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. All good? It's an hour and a half, man. If you're still with us, we greatly appreciate you. Make sure you drop a comment, drop a like, drop a sub. Follow us on all of our socials. We'd love to hear from you. Get in the comments. Reagan, any last words from you before we head off?
Man. I just, I hope you're in a good spot where you either clinched your playoffs this week or, you're in a spot where you're still alive next week. I mean, let's get into those fantasy playoffs and win some leagues.
Let's do it, baby.
You know what I mean?